Right. Hopefully we'll come on the us. Guys, we're going to keep it fairly quick. Anyway, I don't want you to keep it too long. It's Saturday. Thanks very much for coming down. This is pretty much our second seminar. So I might be not very good. Lost at everything. Basically what we're going to do today, guys, is we're going to talk about insulin. Okay, so insulin and how to manage it, what's the risk related to insulin and all that stuff. Okay, how it can help you to mainly to lose body fat, because it's very important if you want to sort of maintain fairly low body fat. Also helps you to be anabolic, so it means build muscle. But only certain times you can probably have a little bit more, which we'll talk about a little bit later. What we're going to start with, we're going to start about what it is really, insulin. Insulin is one of the hormones in your body, which is secreted by pancreas when you eat carbs. So every time you eat carbs, this pancreas, which is the organ behind your stomach, will secrete some insulin, which will help you to process the blood glucose, right? And normally what you have is, if you're in a healthy body, it means you're okay and you don't have any problems with sort of insulin. That means your body will, the cells will absorb insulin, and everything, the insulin and all the blood glucose will go to the right place. That means to the right cells. And what it is in terms of if you're insulin sensitive, so if you're insulin sensitive, which is a good sign, right? What's going to happen is 85% of all the blood glucose will go to your muscle. Yep, so it's going to be used for energy for later. 10 to 15% will go to your liver, and then 5% will go to your fat cells for maintenance, right? That's when everything is okay and you are more of a person who's sort of sensitive to insulin. Everything processed very well. All right. All the insulin works in a kind of continuum, so it's kind of like shades of white and goes like to the red. Let's say this is white, and the red one is going to be insulin resistant. So that's kind of, let's say, bad already. When insulin, if you're more insulin resistant, that means all the blood glucose won't be going to those cells. Will be circulating in your body, right? So you're not going to be getting the muscle won't be getting pretty much anything. What's going to happen, those numbers will pretty much going to swap. So 85% of all the sugar, all the blood glucose will go to your fat cell. That means you're going to get more fat. 10 to 15% will stay in your liver, and only 5% will go to your muscles. Right? So if you're more resistant, then obviously you're going to get more fat and you're not going to build as much muscle. What it is, obviously, it's not either you're either insulin sensitive or insulin resistant. It goes kind of more close into one side, close to the other side, so you can shift that, right? So let's say you've been on a good for a while, but you've been eating a lot of sort of carbs and all that stuff. You might be shifting yourself more to your insulin resistance. So that means you're going to actually become using everything will be going to your fat cells rather than to your muscles. Okay. Next step, if you were talking about that, next step after being insulin resistant is diabetes. So diabetes is a pretty much next step after being insulin resistant, right? So after that, if you're going to be very long already, and you're going to have a lot of, insulin is not going to be going to the right place, you might get diabetes, which obviously is not very good. What it is, how we measure that, the best way to do it is to measure your morning blood glucose. Okay, you can do it in sort of, I think in the hospitals or whatever. I think you can get like a normal test as well from pharmacies, right? Yeah, you can get it. Okay? You can buy your own, kit pretty much to test.
Or ask me.
Well, yeah, you can ask Louise because she obviously been doing it. What it is you need to leave like 12 hours, so you pretty much don't eat anything. 12 hours before you test it, normally in the morning. So if you test it at 7 a.m., you should stop eating by 7 in the evening the day before, right? And then in the morning you wake up and you test it. Okay. Right. In terms of the good bits, I mean, I've been on the course and they've been sort of telling us a bit more kind of states what's happening in the US, but I've got it on here. So the good values is, I'll tell you exactly. Will be the good levels are anything from 3.8 to 5.5.
These are the good ones.
That's a good one, and that's what it is millimoles per liter. Okay, that's what they're testing it like. So that's the good one. Okay, that's kind of within the norm. Okay, although what's happening every time, even though this is within the norm, for every the closer you get to this number, you actually increasing your cardiovascular risk much higher. So the difference between this number and that number, and this can be about 150% greater risk of developing cancer or cardiovascular disease than that number. So even though this is still within the norm, it's much higher risk. Okay, so that's kind of norm. Okay. Right. The next step with the insulin resistance is anything will be from 5.5 to, I think it was 7 something. Computer doesn't work now. Right. I think it was 7 something. It was 7.7. Yeah, 7.7. 7.7 millimoles per liter. That's already you becoming insulin resistant. Anything above 7.7 millimole per deciliter is pre-diabetic. Yeah. So if your morning blood glucose is more than 7.7 millimole per liter, you're actually becoming diabetic.
So do those numbers represent the amount of sugar in your blood?
Sorry?
What do the numbers?
Yeah, morning blood glucose, so yeah.
And I'm pretty sure you can actually test it with a GP as well, isn't it?
I think you should. Yeah, I think you should. But you can buy your own kit. I think I've seen some in pharmacies as well. They're not sort of very cheap as well, but you can get them. Okay. So this is pretty much like a basic stuff about insulin and how it works. Next steps, obviously, the risks of insulin. Obviously, we're not going to be talking about insulin sensitive because that's actually a good sign. Anything about being insulin resistant and insulin and diabetic. There's 3 main diseases will related to insulin level. Okay, so if your insulin is really messed up, obviously the first one will be diabetes. Next one's going to be Alzheimer, which is actually classified now in functional medicine only as diabetes number 3. Okay, and third one's going to be cancer. So those 3 main diseases will be you increasing your risk basically if your insulin level is too high. Okay, it's not good. So let's move on. Is that clear, guys? Or yes? What we're going to talk now is obviously how you get insulin is basically all the carbs. So we'll talk about carbs. Obviously there's a lot of type of carbs. We have, you know, starchy carbs and all that sort of starch, sugar, all that stuff is all carbs, right? What's happening, because not every single carb will raise your insulin level the same, right? That's why what's happening, we have that sort of glycemic index, right? That's what kind of tell you how much the portion, I mean, yeah, the certain food will raise your blood sugar. The normal value, the glucose, is 100, right? So that's why they tested it and they did this. Glucose is pretty much like a basic level, it's 100, right? So they're getting it from that, okay? So the general rule is the more kind of grain-based food it is and refined food it is, then the higher the glycemic index will be, okay? So mainly you have foods like, the highest foods pretty much you can get, it's all the like rice, white rice especially, potatoes, all the flour like products, white bread, all that stuff, corn, bananas, dried fruits like dates. Dates actually have glycemic index higher than glucose itself. Dried dates, yeah, they have 103. So that means they raise your blood sugar quicker than the sugar. Yeah. Also potatoes, I think when you have a baked potato, or sorry, not baked potato, but when you cook it, blowing the water, I think it changes everything as well, because cooking also changes the glycemic index as well, and that goes above 100 as well if you cook it. Potato.
Parsnips as well.
Okay.
Parsnips, I think they're
Yeah.
one of the highest glycemic index. So
yeah,
so
and also
have a
one
roast.
of the worst, apparently, was saying right now, because there's a different sort of test as well, and sometimes they're measuring differently, rice cakes. Rice cakes, they have 130, glycemic index of 130. You can see that's 100, that's 130, so it's 30% more than pure sugar.
So where in this the sweet potato comes then?
Right, let's do sweet potato. That's the kind of main thing. So the glycemic index will tell you more or less how much, sort of what's the sort of rate of carbs. There's another one also, so that's kind of related to GI, right, glycemic index. There's also another one called glycemic load, okay? So GL, it's glycemic load. And that's then when you can actually compare those foods, because obviously if you have normal potato or a sweet potato, I think I've got it written down somewhere. Hold on. That's sort of numbers, so I won't lie. There you go. Okay, let's compare those two. Glycemic index is basically glycemic load is a glycemic index. Times percentages of carbs in that food, so portion size, pretty much. Right?
Sorry, say that again?
So it's a glycemic index times portion size, so how much actually carbs you have in that portion, whatever it is. It's 100 grams, 150 grams, okay? And let's take, I'm going to read it down here, that 100 is about 150 grams of potatoes, the white ones. So white, it's going to have about 34 grams of carbs, okay, and the glycemic index is 85, yeah, and that's going to be the glycemic load, so GL will be, if we get all the numbers, that's 29, okay, that's the potato, white potato. Where we're going to take a sweet potato, which is the same portion, 150 grams, sweet potato. It's got pretty much same amount of carbs, okay, it's 34, about 34 grams of carbs. But the glycemic index of sweet potato is only 37. So if we're gonna get all that divided by times 34 divided by 100, then glycemic load will be only 13. Yeah. So you see, there's a massive difference between those two starches, right? And even if it does, this one's got in the name is sweet potato, it doesn't mean actually it's better. It's worse than normal potato. So this one, the white potato, will raise your sugar much more than a sweet potato. Okay. And also, when we're talking about why they did this glycemic load, because not every fruit or every food is going to be exactly the same, and sometimes if you have, let's say, a normal fruit and a dry fruit, that's going to be a massive difference between what's happening to your blood sugar than all right, because the dry fruit will going to have much more carbs and much more sugar. That means you're going to increase your blood sugar much quicker. Okay, that's why they came up with this, just to back up that glycemic index itself. Okay, because it's very hard to get the same sort of numbers. So there you go. And actually, there's another fun thing is they did the same thing if you did it to the Haagen-Dazs ice creams. Yeah, for a half cup of Haagen-Dazs ice creams, they're actually going to be below that number as well. So they will raise your blood sugar a little bit slower than sweet potatoes itself. I'm not saying that you gotta eat it, sweet Haagen-Dazs, but this is kind of like a little thing. Okay. When we're talking about glycemic index, there was also foods they kind of free from, so they're not really included in the glycemic index because you can eat them as much as you want. And all the sort of green veggies, mainly, most of them, really, things like strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, all that stuff, you can eat as much, pretty much, as you want, because the level of is so small. And let's say if you're gonna eat celery, how much celery do you have to eat actually to raise your blood sugar? Yeah. So some foods are just so low that you can eat them as much as you can, right? I've got a whole table of foods. The glycemic index, I think, is about 100 of the main ones, really, what you eat, and glycemic load will tell you exactly what's happening with those two. Okay. So there you go. Let me just think if I'm missing anything. No. Okay. So what's next? Carbs. Okay. Breakfast. Jamie, where are you? He's gone.
He's gone.
Jamie?
Hello.
Good to see you back.
Sorry.
Talking about breakfast, okay, why it's important to eat breakfast and why it's important to have a good breakfast. Okay, we're going to talk about breakfast. Jamie's always been telling me that you've been eating Cocoa Pops or that. He said he had a special cake. Special cake.
Busted.
Cocoa Pops. When we go to Cocoa Pops, they are one of the highest ones on the glycemic index and glycemic load tables. Okay, that's why when you eat them in the morning, in the next half an hour you're gonna crash. That means you're gonna have very low energy and you're gonna feel like crap. Okay, that's why, Jamie, when you're coming here and you start to train, you're excited because you had some cocoa pops. The blood glucose is very high, but after half an hour, every single set is hard, right? And it's harder, just because the blood sugar is going down and you don't have any energy, right? So there you go. So yeah, that's pretty much going to cover most of the sort of carb thing. I think I just sort of forgot to tell you one thing about the insulin as well. When we're going to sort of, I need to go back to the insulin resistance, it's the kind of little thing. If you going towards the insulin resistance, so when something, obviously the cells are not getting the right stuff, what's also happening in your body that actually, because all that glucose will be sort of circulating in your body all the time, okay, cells will not going to get anything and that sort of stuff, that will also start to increase your cortisol. So your body will actually start secreting cortisol. Cortisol, as we know, is a stress hormone, okay? So what's going to happen is also that cortisol goes up, and that will also make you fatter, okay? All that sort of fat will be stored around your trunk, okay? So that's why all the insulin is pretty much related to a trunk fat storage. Why? That's why people kind of developing like a potato with two sticks. That's what's happening here, okay? So that's one more thing I kind of forgot to say. And now we're going to go to a little more facts about what's happening to the good fats, because obviously most times you will see that most of the products will tell you, oh, this you need to be on a low fat diet and all that stuff. Most of the products now are low fat and all that stuff. But what we don't know is that actually we need some good fat in your body. The main reason why, because your cells in your body are made from fat, okay? And you have two options. If you're gonna eat a good fat, let's say a good source of fat like fish, sort of nuts, olive oil, all that stuff, taking omega-3 supplements, like in terms of like liquid or fish or capsules. Those cells will be made from good fat, which will help you to actually absorb that insulin and everything else. So that means your insulin level will become more insulin sensitive, okay? That means the absorption, everything is going to be much more quicker and going everything easier, okay? If you on a diet where you have a lot of trans fats, all the like fat, really bad fats, like, okay, that sort of stuff, all the cells will be made from the bad fats, and that's actually going to stop insulin going and binding with the cell and receptors, and that's why not everything, you're pretty much not going to absorb anything, okay? That's why the fat is very important. So good fats are very important, and you should include that in the diet, because the more good fats you eat, the more insulin sensitive you become. So you're kind of shifting that to the good side. Okay, so as I said, all the good fats are sort of mainly fish and sort of nuts, olive oil, omega-3 basically, supplements even as well, because that's kind of help you to get that sort of omega-3 in your body. Because we have omega-3. There's different types of omega-3. You have omega-3, omega-6, omega-9. Okay, most of the time you see in the diet right now that pretty much this doesn't exist anymore. There's too much omega-6. Omega-6 is it's not bad, but it has to be a limited amount. Okay, so normally the ratio between these two should be quite low in terms of a little bit more that, so 2 to 1. But now what's happening right now, because of food and all that sort of stuff they add into the food, all the high glucose fructose syrup as well, which is made pretty much from corn. So corn is one of those things you should avoid eating if you want to manage your insulin, okay? It's pretty much 1 to 50. So you got 50 times more omega-6 than omega-3, okay? That's why the risk of a lot of diseases, especially diabetes, cancer, all the other stuff as well, will increase as well, okay? That's why you'll be shifting more to the insulin resistant side and becoming diabetic, okay? So one thing is bumping the omega-3 intake through many things and try to cut those omega-6s, and that's pretty much everywhere right now. So when we're going to yeah, so you need to avoid things like, you know, processed foods and all that stuff.
What does the omega-6 do, and then omega-3 as well, in terms of the inflammation and
oh yeah, well, yeah, obviously omega-3 is anti-inflammatory. So what's happening, the cells and everything will get much more healthier, okay, so they won't be inflamed. That means the more, they're pretty much going to get healthier, so that means you become more insulin sensitive again, the same thing. Pretty much the absorption, everything will be much easier, much quicker. Omega-6 will make sure, well, will increase the inflammation level, okay? That's what's happening, so, yes.
Can we talk a little bit about inflammation? Because as far as I know, inflammation is the body's natural response to stress.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why the omega-6 is absolutely important. It definitely is important. But if that ratio is
ratio,
skewed, so you're constantly going to be inflamed, so that all the cells developing inflammation.
Yeah.
So
if you're chronically inflamed, that means if you've been inflamed for very, very long time, then your chances of increasing every single disease possible, pretty much, even like the main ones are those three that I mentioned before, it's so much higher, because you pretty much constantly inflame, your body kind of can't cope with that inflammation, right? So as soon as you bring that omega-6 down by choosing the right type of food and the quality and quantity as well, so that means, you know, you need to sort of eat also enough but not too much, and the sort of the ratio will improve. Let's say you bump up your good omega-3 intake by eating more fish and taking supplements, all that stuff, then you become less inflamed. And if you're less inflamed, and obviously everything starts becoming healthier, then the body will start to work better, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
do we look at inflammation in a similar way that we look at allergies? Like it's the body's response to something, but it probably isn't actually the right thing that we want.
yeah, pretty much, very kind of, if you look at it like that,
Yeah.
very similar to sort of being allergic to something.
Yeah.
Because many times if you have an allergy, you don't know about it, right? You need to do a test.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people like you just eat stuff, but some of the things you eat, maybe you don't notice it, but it actually makes in your body, what's happening in your body, it actually makes you more inflamed, because allergy causes inflammation as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what's happening, you know. So that's pretty much what it is, you know. The more inflamed you are, the worse things goes, and the sort of body will kind of cope with it, and it's hard to stay on a good side when we're talking about insulin level. Yeah. So breakfast, yes, we were talking about breakfast. Why breakfast is important? Because breakfast will set you up for the whole day, right? Will dictate how much energy you're going to have during the day, okay? If you make the right choice, you might be a lot of energy, so during the day you'll be okay. If you made a bad choice, a couple hours later, no, not very good. And most of the time, the choice of food will be worse as well. So, let's just say that we eat those Cocoa Pops in the morning. Cocoa Pops, right? So, we're talking about Cocoa Pops, we're eating them half an hour later. I mean, half an hour later, we're pretty much very energetic, a lot of energy, but so suddenly the sugar will go down very quickly, because as we know, the Cocoa Pops is one of the highest GI, and it's going to increase your sugar level very high very quickly, okay? But it's also going to go down very quickly. So you're very energetic, and for half an hour later, you're going to be going down, lack of energy straight away, pretty much. And then what's going to happen most probably, okay, I need something to get me up. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to have, whatever, sandwich, or something like that, a bagel, or a French baguette with something, okay? French baguette actually, hey?
Such disgust.
No, well, that's pretty much what it is from experience. We'll know about it. It's a French baguette with something, with a tiny bit of ham, whatever, maybe, or cheese, or whatever it is, or yeah, anything, croissant maybe as well. Why not? So what's gonna happen? French baguette, actually, French bread, it's got GI, so glycemic index of 94. So we compare it to glucose, 100, 94, you see what's going on, right? What's going to happen here? Well, same thing. Half an hour later after eating baguette, whoa, we got a lot of energy again, happy, and then after that, go down. What we do again? We're eating something else. Maybe a lot of pasta, or rice, whatever, white rice with something, anything, yeah? So it kind of goes up and down, You're feeling okay, you're feeling a lot of energy. Plenty of energy, a lot of energy, and that's how it goes through the day, okay? Insulin goes up, goes down, goes up, goes down. Very bad, okay? Right. What we know, well, this is kind of my point of view. I'm not sort of saying that I've been doing it myself, and I know it does work and, you know, feel good doing that. I know a few people here already been doing it as well. It's what I normally suggest if you want to manage your insulin properly. Okay, make sure you're gonna be set up for the day. So you're gonna have enough energy for the day. Your choice of food later on will be better as well. Is to have a high protein and low carb breakfast. Okay, ideally, and some fat. So normally, what I normally eat, and I will normally suggest people to eat if you want to lose fat quickly as well, is meat and nuts. Meat and nuts are pretty much, well, protein and fat. So protein is needed to, it actually increases two neurotransmitters, which is molecule of drive and molecule of attention. Okay, so that means you're going to have a lot of energy, and you know your attention level will be better as well for the day. And then after that, you will make better choices in terms of food that you're going to choose later on during the day. Okay, so for example, instead of going, if you're going to eat chicken and some nuts, whatever nut it is, your choice later on during the day will be probably not a French baguette, or maybe chicken, I don't know, beef and salad, steak or salad, fish or salad, whatever. Okay, because you can eat those carbs, so salad is fine. Okay, that sort of stuff. And later on, it's gonna, because you ate good meal as well for that, you're gonna have alright energy, and then the next meal will probably gonna be good as well. You know, so if your insulin level is going to be pretty much constant in the same level, okay, because what's happening, those foods won't increase your insulin level like that, okay, they will probably go up, maybe go down a little bit, but it's going to be kind of like that, most of it, okay, so you're not going to be a big drops. You're going to make much better choices. Okay,
Are all nuts equally good or not?
Sorry?
Are all nuts equally good?
Most of them, yes, except peanuts.
I knew you didn't say.
Yeah. Peanuts are actually not really a nut, it's a legume. It's one sort of type of legumes. Any nut is really okay, so we have a lot of choices of cashew nuts, hazelnuts, walnuts, almonds, okay, all that nuts. You can mix them up every single day, eat something different so you don't get bored of eating the same one. Plus, obviously, if you're going to eat the same stuff, your body will get used to it, so ideally it's good to sort of mix it up a little bit every now and then, okay? Choice of meat also, you can choose different meat every time you eat, or at least every now and then change it, so don't stick just chicken every single day, chicken for every meal. Mix it up, you have, you know, turkey, beef, any fish or whatever, okay?
What about things like tuna and eggs?
If you're buying a fresh tuna, fine, but canned tuna normally doesn't really have much value because everything else, the good bits are already gone. So you're putting like a, you know, trying to make a fruit juice with that sort of thing, you put the fruits there and you get all the sort of, everything goes to that juice, right? And then whatever's left, that's what we're going to put in the can.
Yeah.
So there's nothing there, right? It's just the kind of leftovers pretty much, and that's what it is, so that's why it's not ideal. Plus canned food is also not ideal as well.
If you eat canned food, fish-wise, sardines, probably
Sardines,
read some, you know, so that's probably the best choice there.
Yeah. The fatter the fish is, the better. So mackerel, salmon, sardines, all that sort of fishes are very good. The best probably choices. Even if it's going to be in a can, it's still better than eating than tuna, for example.
Where do eggs fit into all this then?
Eggs?
Yeah.
Eggs are, they are actually low on the glycemic index as well. So they're actually quite anabolic, so that means they actually build muscle. So
the only problem with eggs is the omega-6 is quite high.
Quite high.
So if you want to eat eggs pretty much every day, so you have to balance out those ratios.
Yeah.
So you have to bump up your omega-3, and then pretty much it's you know, just eat eggs. So that's fine. So you don't have to throw out the yolk and everything else. So we just bump up your fish oil up.
And eggs are also one of the main allergens, unfortunately. So if you're gonna eat eggs, you're gonna 10 eggs a day every single day, you might be actually becoming allergic to it. If you don't, even if you don't know it, but you might test might will tell you that actually you're allergic.
Also,
So
no one will want to work out with you.
Hey?
Ultimately, no one will want to work out with him if you eat him.
So, yeah, it's changing slightly the way we kind of eat eggs. It would help, so eating maybe egg whites and then, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 egg whites, but instead of just 1 egg yolk in it. Would that make a difference, or it doesn't really matter?
I guess so.
Yeah, I have read it as
normally-
well, and I think Bollickman said as well. It's sometimes the way you cook the eggs, so it, as well, it will prevent sort of developing these allergies. You know, so it's just a certain way, because the food changes slightly how it's cooked and how we absorb it. So every time we sort of change the way we cook it, so it might sort of kind of prevent from that kind of allergy to eventually develop. Yeah. So yeah, there's a theory behind that, but you know.
You never know in a way, so everybody might be different, you might be responding a little bit different than another person in a way, so it's kind of like you need to be kind of, it's more kind of individual thing, you know. Some people might be eating eggs all the time, and you know, you're not going to get any allergy, you'll be fine, and some people will just eat a little bit for a little while, and then suddenly something's going to go wrong, you know, so just a kind of, it's more individual kind of thing, I guess.
And again, just because the omega-6 and omega-3 is skewed, so it's always going to be quite inflammatory. Yeah, so that's why.
And you need to look at obviously the quality of eggs. Because
Organic.
right now you have
Organic.
eggs full, you know, they've been those caged, you know, hens and all that, so being feed with pesticides and all that crap. So obviously the one quality of one egg might be not. We have, for example, if you have those free whatever organic eggs with high omega-3 content, so they've been actually on a good diet as well.
Yeah.
Then obviously the egg like this will be much better than an egg from a cage hen, right? So the content of omega-3 in that egg might be much higher than actually omega-6, and what's happening to that egg, you know. And the same thing with everything now, because the food quality now is just getting really, really bad in a way. So you go all the hormones put in those like meat, especially meat, like turkeys, you know, chicken, beef, all that stuff. All those animals are fed with corn, right? So if we can't eat corn and they're eating corn, well, obviously they're gonna become really unhealthy, and why those sort of diseases all those cows are, you know, had like previously, and all that sort of stuff was happening to animals as well, just because their diet is really crap, right? And we eating their meat, so that means all full of all of shit they've been eating that we actually eating now as well. So in a way, everything kind of goes wrong.
And what's the problem with porridge?
Well, I mean,
much. It's the timing when you eat it. So usually you eat your porridge in the morning. So
porridge is normally, I mean, it's not as bad as Cocoa Pops in terms of GI, right? I think they're about 54 or something in terms of GI, glycemic index. So it's classified as low, still as low. I think because the classification up till 55 is classified as low, 55 to 70 something is classified medium, and anything above 70 is classified very high. So porridge is still kind of, oats are classified as still kind of low, right? But it all, as I say, it all depends on what's happening to it and when you're gonna eat it. You know, every now and then it's okay. Although some people say they also have gluten. Some people say they don't have a gluten, so it's kind of like gluten. Ideally, you shouldn't eat gluten because most people are really not. You shouldn't eat that. Okay, so it's kind of a lot of other things as well.
But mainly it's the timing. It's the timing. So usually you have porridge in the morning, isn't it? And then if you want to keep that insulin level constant, then just avoid any sort of carbs in the morning. You know?
So have it.
I've been experimenting with myself a little bit with porridge, and I've been eating it before I go to bed, half an hour, and that actually makes me sleep very well, because the sugar is kind of because normally this thing is a slow release carb in a way, okay, so it kind of releases slowly, and it actually, I mean, that little bit of couple, I think a week I did like every day, half an hour before I went to bed, I pretty much ate porridge, like a small bowl, like 80 grams, 70 grams. And that actually made me feel kind of, when I was sleeping, I had to like knock, that's it, 8 hours, I wake up, it's very good, you know. So, it's a kind of one of those things, you know, sometimes maybe it's not ideal, but if you play with it, it does work. You might use it if you have, for example, sleeping issues and that sort of stuff, because obviously sleep affects your health and that sort of things as well. So
and depends really as well on your body composition, isn't it? So if you want to lose body fat and eventually get healthier and all that stuff, so then you try to avoid any kind of carbs that will raise your insulin level. But if you are, you know, the more you kind of get to that sensitivity, insulin sensitivity side of things, well, then now and then carbs you can tolerate. Yeah, so it's all
it's all about where you are really as well, and what's your goal in terms of your training, right? Because sometimes you'll need carbs, right? So normally, you know, if you say you are only increasing muscle mass and you're very lean, maybe when you're training, after you're training, you might have a big meal in terms with sort of carbs, just because there's sort of replenish everything and glycogen.
And again, if you are insulin sensitive, so remember about those ratios, that 85% goes to muscle. Yeah. So again, if you want to raise your muscle kind of mass as such for your training purposes, then if you eat your carbs, especially after training, when there's a sort of a window of kind of opportunity when everything goes straight away into the
window
muscle.
Is very short anyway, if you look at it.
So then
mainly after training. So insulin can be your friend when we talk about sort of after training, post-workout really. When you have that sort of half an hour when you can actually get some carbs, if your goal is obviously to build more muscle and that sort of stuff. So they can help you, because what's happening to insulin and cortisol, when we talk about cortisol, because we'll talk about it later anyway, it's a different topic, but cortisol is stress hormone. They don't like each other with insulin, right? So one goes up, the other one goes down. So if you raise your insulin level up, the cortisol will go down, which after training, it's okay. So that means you're going to become more anabolic, because the ratio between cortisol and testosterone, which is another hormone, male hormone obviously, will make you more anabolic. That means you can build more muscle. Okay. Cortisol can be your friend, but only when you're training, that sort of stuff, because that's fine. But that's a different topic for me to talk about. Yes.
If you're training in the morning,
yes.
So as soon as you practically
Wake
get up, what should you have before and after? Should you have your breakfast afterwards?
Well, if let's say you train at 6 AM and you wake up at 5:30, rushing here to the gym, then obviously it's not. I wouldn't recommend you eating that meat and nuts, because obviously everything will be on the floor in the next half an hour, right? When you're gonna do something. So in that sort of situation, even a good protein shake, whey protein shake before the training.
But again, it's just the dose of the protein
of
as
the
well.
Protein, you have to be kind of
20 grams of protein is actually alright, and anything above 30, 40 already going to start to raise your insulin level as well. Yeah, so a good, nice whey protein, sort of without any.
Pre-workout kind of shakes as well.
Well, the pre-workout shakes, it's all
about
sugar and everything. So what's going to happen is mid-workout, is the same as a Cocoa Pops. It's going to exactly, yeah. So it's going to go down, and that's it. So you want to keep that insulin level as steady as possible before the workout. Yeah, so the protein probably in your case, and that's what I do as well. If I train in the morning, I sort of eat a little bit later as a breakfast, and I would have a bit of protein before.
So it's okay not to have anything?
I think not. The reason why, obviously, you will need some energy to train. Let's say you haven't been eating anything you've been sleeping, so that means you don't eat, whatever, 8 hours, 9 hours, and body is pretty much like empty, right? And what's happening also, just to be able to sort of operate, the body needs some sort of energy, some sort of calories as well. And mainly the proteins are pretty much the main one. Okay. So that's why as soon as you wake up, body will need something to be able to process normal functions. And also one of the main functions as well is the kind of detoxifying and that sort of stuff. Because the body will detoxify about 500 different substances every single day. Okay. So that's because of the level of toxicity right now and everything else, that's why the level of protein you will need now is much higher, okay, just to be able to do that. So obviously, ideally you shouldn't really train anything, shouldn't train before eating.
And another thing as well, depends where you are on that continuum, sensitivity, resistance. Let's say if you are, 100 kilo guy who is fairly lean, if you have a bit of carbs, have a bit of porridge in the evening before bedtime, so you're still going to have a little bit of glycogen left in your muscle in the morning. But if you are trying to lose body fat and you're not eating that much carbs at all, so it's just your veggies and things like that, so your energy level will be quite low if you're not going to have any protein before the session.
It's still very difficult for me because I cannot eat 2 hours before I work out. So.
That's why the protein shake, I think, is a good. It's not
ideal,
but it's not ideal.
Better than have anything.
So you have markers after, but before they work out,
it's
such a short window to have it for my body to digest it.
Where does dairy?
What did you say?
20 grams. Yeah, 20 grams.
I was going to say, where does dairy come in?
Dairy normally is normally quite low in a way in terms of the glycemic index and low, really. Although there are some things, low fat yogurts with fruits inside, that's much higher. Okay, so same thing also in terms of when you compare a whole milk, no regular milk, and a semi-skimmed milk or skimmed milk, the glycemic load will be higher of the semi-skimmed as well, just because they are adding a little bit more stuff, because obviously you take the fat, you need to put something else to make it taste better. And normally there's some sort of sugar.
Is it true that most of the milk and stuff actually cause allergy reactions?
Yeah,
very, very
well,
allergic,
dairy is one of the main allergies as well. We shouldn't really eat that a lot. You cut the dairy, straight away you'll probably feel that your stomach will be feeling better in a way, so you're gonna feel a little bit less bloated and everything. It's just because we're not really designed to eat,
What
and
about
that's
products like cheese then, I think, like
well,
mozzarella and stuff?
same thing, isn't it?
Same things.
What about goat products? Like goat's cheese, goat's milk?
Well, they do honey a little bit better than a normal like milk from cows, but it's still kind of a dairy in a way. So.
And things like hazelnut milk or...
That's better.
They've got
It's
quite
just
a lot of
because-
sugar in there. They've got a lot of sugar in it.
Well, that's what it is. And that's because you see that the one you're buying in the shops, always going to be some sugar there because to taste it alright. That's why, that's what it is. So ideally you shouldn't really eat it unless you could, squeeze nuts around. Make your own milk.
Did you do that?
Because as soon as you can let me know.
So full fat milk.
Hey? Yeah, it's better to have a full fat milk than semi-skimmed milk. Or almond milk, in a way, because it's more, most of the time will be sugar content there will be quite high as well, because they're adding stuff to it as well. Okay?
And that's same with yogurt, you're saying?
Yeah, same with yogurts. Avoid yogurts like low fat yogurts, especially the yogurts with fruits. Okay? Because normally if you see that the average yogurt with fruits got about 16 grams of sugar every 100 grams, and normally those big pots are about 500 grams. So if you eat all of it, then you have about, well, you can calculate 80 grams of sugar just like that. So the insulin level will be going up very, very quickly.
And if you can, and I don't know whether you can get it somewhere, raw milk is probably the best option, because again, pasteurized milk is all to do with the lactose and how it's processed and all that stuff. So yeah,
Can I ask, on the flip side of that, if you're dairy intolerant, and how bad the soy products are?
Is what?
Soy,
Don't eat soy.
at all?
Evil.
No.
How
Soya
about,
for
how about the,
soy is for dorks. There's an article I was going to send you.
the soy intolerant? And there's now products where they've taken the lactose out, which is something that I'm cool with, but they're still dairy products. Are they, like, wouldn't know if they're kind of shitty.
Well, I think they probably are the long-lasting ones, aren't they?
No,
like a 6 months milk.
No. They've got cheese and yogurt that they introduce organisms that eat lactose,
right.
and then their normal yogurt.
Yeah.
Straight away, that doesn't sound healthy.
I know it sounds kind of gross, but you know.
Well, probably better than, but
Soy.
you never know. Yeah, just
What's wrong with soy?
environmental estrogen. I think the way they make it eventually it just raises your estrogen level as well. So it's yeah, it's evil.
You gotta remember,
Especially
all those hormones are related
Is
somehow.
that the same
They're
as
going to
soy-
affect
soy
each
shakes?
other, right?
and same as baby food as well. You know, so all the boys who eat soya kind of powdered milk, they're just developing the estrogen so high. That
Cancer, especially cancer for guys. Testosterone level down, that means you can't really build any muscle, anything, and your risk of cancer, like, it really goes up for males, especially.
How about soybeans? They found.
see soya, run.
See, soya don't eat it. Just don't forget about
Normal green beans.
it. Hey?
Those normal green beans.
Well, no.
So then the soy protein is.
No.
What are you supposed to?
Hey?
Like, for myself, I can't have like protein shakes. What are
Hemp.
the alternatives?
Hemp protein, you know.
Hemp.
But better
Better than nothing.
better than nothing.
It's not ideal
Yeah.
one, but yeah, I guess.
Hemp.
I think there's a rice protein as well, isn't
Rice.
it?
Yeah, for vegans, I think
Yeah.
it's one of the
Rice protein.
rice protein. as well, so.
Rice. I thought rice was bad.
Well, it is
Protein,
bad.
not the
It's
the
protein.
I
It's
just
not really
like
the rice.
rice.
It's
It's
the
great.
protein. All those glycemic indexes and all that stuff is again depends really where you are on the continuum, and sometimes if you need a little bit of carbs to build muscle and before bedtime if you want to sleep a little bit better, nothing's wrong with a bit of a higher glycemic index carb just to help you to sleep better, you recover better. But if you're fighting with the body fat, then
So
you're going to stay
basically, I'm
away from it.
drinking a lot of carbs.
Wine, you mean, and beer.
In my soy protein shake.
Yes, sir.
So this debate between high testosterone and low estrogen, does it count universally for both men and women? Because we know that they have different hormonal makeup.
Yeah.
So
Well, there it affects it, but this, as I said, is going to be a different topic. We're going to do a seminar about estrogen and testosterone as well, so we'll talk about it a little bit more. So I don't want to go into that now because just the kind of we'll talk about more insulin level. So one of the good things about the insulin, guys, is it is 100% controllable. That means you have a control on it all the time, because you control it by eating the right food, okay, and amount of foods, okay. So that means if you want to lose fat, for example, if you're gonna eat the right stuff or don't eat the things, special things, then you're more likely to be becoming more insulin sensitive. That means your insulin level will be much better. I mean, the sort of is not going to be going up and down. That means you will be able to lose fat much more quicker. Okay, so the worse the choices you get, the worse the insulin level will be, and then eventually you're going to become closer to becoming a resistant, and then eventually, if you're really going to be long on that sort of really bad stuff, then you can get doing diabetes, all right? Which is obviously not very good because it's also related to other things as well. Okay. So how we can manage insulin level? Sort of little helps. I mean, most of you here obviously for a specific one of the reasons what we don't really know about. Actually, strength training is one of the best ways to manage the insulin level. Okay, because strength training, all that sort of work you're doing here, actually you become more insulin sensitive as well. Okay, that means you generate much more muscle, you need to do more work. That means you're sort of getting all that sugar that needs to go somewhere, and it's more likely if you're going to go right, it's going to go to the right place. Okay, So strength training is a good, big help in terms of managing your insulin level, becoming more insulin sensitive. Okay, that's why you feel when you're doing weight training, strength training, any sort of stuff like that, you can become leaner. Okay. Cardio, for example, will burn all the muscle. It means the more cardio you're gonna do, the more muscle you're gonna burn. It means less you can actually become more insulin just because the muscle will go down. Okay, so muscles are your friend. Okay, so strength training in such is one of the best ways to manage your insulin level. Ideally, if you want to do the high sort of volume, high intensity training, so that's kind of a lot of sets, a lot of reps, that sort of stuff. So say doing 10 sets of 10 is better than, for example, 1 set of 6. Okay, 6, yeah, because the work is going to be much higher. It's going to be much harder. Okay, so strength training is one of those things. If we're looking into how to manage insulin, the number one it will be strength training. There will be a few of them. Next one we'll already talk about it. It's high protein, low carb diet. Obviously, your goal is to sort of lose fat mainly. But as I say, even if you want to build muscle, you don't really need that carbs too much anyway, because carbs are not really nutrient that you actually need to survive. Okay, you can be just eating fat and protein, and you'll be fine. You don't have no carbs at all, nothing, absolutely nothing, even no greens, no veggies, nothing, absolutely nothing, and you will survive and you're going to be all right. If we're going to leave you with just fat, there's another thing. Fat and carbs don't go together as well if you're going to eat just that without eating any protein. Okay, so if you're going to have a lot of trans fats, a lot of very high, bad sort of sugar products as well, which will increase your insulin level very high, then you're probably going to be dying about a year if you're going to eat like that. Just because of that. They don't go together at all. They increase the body fat massively in the body.
So next time you eat ice cream,
yeah,
think about that.
So what I didn't hear.
What happens is that when you eat, let's say ice cream, for example, you have a lot of sugar in there, so that raises the insulin level very quickly, and then you have a massive amount of fat in there as well. Whether that's good fat or bad fat, obviously good fat is a little bit better than other way around. But so what happens is that just because the insulin level is so high straight away, so that the fat is being transported into the fat cell pretty much straight away. So yeah, so almost kind of bypasses that kind of fat being used as an energy. So it's just being stored straight away. Yeah.
So ideally, bad fats and high insulin, high glycemic food don't go together very well.
Okay, what about good fats and high insulin?
Oh, same thing again. It's still will be stored. Obviously, better as Matt was explaining, but the cell structure itself, you know.
Exactly. You gotta remember that the cell. If you have enough good fats in your body, that means your cell will be much more sensitive as well in a way, so they will be absorbing insulin much better. So in a way, if you have a little bit more good fats, and you're going to eat a good fat and a bit more high insulin, you're more likely to sort of still that all the insulin level will and blood because will go to the right place as well, because the cells will be healthy, they're not going to be inflamed. Okay, so that's when we're talking about more kind of the bad fat and really high. Let's say you have a potato and some sort of really fat. Sausage, whatever, then this combination is not going to be ideal, right? So you have a mashed potato with a sausage, probably one of the worst things you can really have as well.
It's one of my favourite things. All the hot food goes outside.
No toast for breakfast, no mashed.
Exactly. So yeah, if you want to manage your insulin, guys, low carb. You can still build enough muscle, you can still be strong on the low carb diet. There's a lot of things about you need to eat more carbs to get energy and but you can get that energy from protein and from good fats as well, because that's going to give you enough energy to yeah, go through the day pretty much, and even if you can train and everything.
What about
Yes.
that? Just those, just protein,
Uh-huh.
right?
Just protein.
Yeah.
Well,
As they say, like you could have it as a starter, like say 2 weeks, and then slowly increase. I don't know, veggies or.
as I said, because veggies, if when we're talking about low carb, it doesn't mean you can't eat any carbs. I mean, all the carbs, in terms of what we are talking about, the good carbs,
Yeah.
the one you can all eat as many as you want. So all the green, most of the green stuff, vegetables are okay.
But what if you cut that and you just go say 2 weeks?
Just protein.
Yeah,
I mean,
just
there are
protein.
diets. I've seen the diets
Yeah.
for this as well. But the thing is, with the low carbs, all that sort of stuff, they also have very important kind of nutrients in a way as well. So fiber is one of them, but
Vitamins, minerals.
vitamins and minerals are there as well.
So
So
you couldn't
ideally,
sustain that
ideally,
and
if you're
train.
gonna eat, you know, you can be on like a broccoli and that sort of salad and that sort of veggies, and that won't make you
Yeah.
fat at all, because there's no way this is going to increase your blood sugar in any way to be able to cause that sort of insulin level to go up that much. Okay, so they're fine.
The benefits of the kind of green veg are so high in terms of the kind of providing all the minerals, all the vitamins and fiber. So
Yeah.
you shouldn't really exclude that from your
So they're okay. You can eat them as much. I mean, it's still going to be not as much as you need. That's why we'll talk in a moment about what else you should take as well in terms of that to help, especially in insulin level. But if you're going to eat, make sure you just eat enough protein. And especially when the main thing is if you want to lose weight, lose fat, especially women, 50 grams of protein before 12 o'clock. And you're going to be, most of the time, it's going to be a massive impact in terms of how your body fat will improve. So 50 grams, so it's 250 grams of any meat, okay, before 12 o'clock, and then you will see the difference, big difference in terms of what's happening to your body.
50 or 250?
250. 250
meat
grams of meat
will
any
produce
meat,
50
whatever
grams
you
of
want.
protein.
Yeah, that's about
Oh,
much.
right, okay.
It's 50 grams of protein from animal, yeah,
Okay.
pretty much, yeah, meat, yeah, whatever. So there you go. So there we go. There's our sort of diet and all that sort of food. Next few will be minerals and vitamins. Especially, we're going to talk about omega-3, which we'll talk about as well a little bit, obviously. That's obviously a good fat. So the ratio we were talking about, the ratio between 6 and 3 is very high in terms of 6. So ideally, this should go up as well. So that's going to make sure that your cells will be healthy. They will absorb. Making sure that you're going to become more insulin sensitive as well. Okay.
And how much of that omega-3 should people have?
Right. The rule is normally it's 1 to 1.5 grams per body fat percentage. So let's say your body fat is 20. You will have anything from 20 to 30 grams of omega-3 per day. Okay, and that can come only from supplements, for example. By, let's say if you're going to eat a lot of fish, like mackerel and salmon and sardines, obviously, that obviously has got some already omega-3s there. So maybe you can take just half of it from supplements and the rest of it there. Although with fish now, because the toxicity level of fish is quite bad as well, because obviously the water and everything, pollution and all that stuff. But ideally, if you get a good source of food, I mean fish, that means you're probably going to be better. But ideally, probably better take more from sort of liquid or capsules, omega-3 capsules and liquid. It's going to be kind of a little bit better. So that's the kind of general rule if you're looking for funnels. Obviously, if your percentage will go down eventually, so you can sort of reduce the dosage eventually, gradually will go down. Okay, so you don't have to be in sort of 20-30 grams a day, that's quite a lot if you look at it. Okay. So that's omega-3. Next one is going to be, it's a vitamin D3, there's zinc, and there's magnesium. What's happening in those, there's are pretty much 3 main things. It will deficient of. Okay, those two. That's about. It obviously depends where you live in terms of the D3, because that's about 70% people in the world are deficient in that. And if you live in Caribbean, maybe you don't have much problem, because obviously there's a lot of sun there. So people will have much higher D3 level than, for example, living in England, when you have maybe 2 days in the whole year. Zinc, magnesium, that's going to be pretty much 90 to 99%. Number 5, I'll say 5% people will be deficient. That means you're not getting enough. Okay, and those three things, they, in terms of insulin management, they really key to get yourself on a good side. Okay, because lack of those minerals you'll become much more insulin resistant. Okay, because all those three will make your insulin, you're becoming more insulin sensitive. Okay, when you take that. Oh, there's also another things related to both. Zinc is also related to, for example, testosterone level. If your level of zinc is low, your testosterone level will be low. And if your level of testosterone is low, you're actually increasing your risk of diabetes as well for males. So if you guys are low on zinc, you will definitely going to be increasing that risk. Magnesium also helps you with other things like sleep and building muscle. Both of them will pretty much help you to build muscle. But all three will make sure that you will become more insulin sensitive. Okay. The best ways you can do how to test those is through blood tests. Okay. You can have a blood test from vitamin D, and how to test these two. There's a test called. You're pretty much going to test your red blood cell. Zinc or magnesium. So there's like 2 tests you can do. I think, not sure if GPs are doing it here for free. Probably not, because they don't really want to do it. Hey, no. I've seen the website when you can actually get it done privately for, I think zinc, I think all 3 cost about 55 to 60 quid each test. They'll test your level. Okay, of those minerals. Okay. The zinc is very simple test as well. There's a zinc tally test. How many of these are we? 1, 2, 3. How many we go? People, how many people we have? We can test it now. I'll show you some.
15. About 15.
15?
Yeah. About, yeah.
There's a very simple test you can do. It's called the zinc tally test, pretty much. 15 cups. This is a very basic test of how to test your zinc level. Don't worry about it, I'm not going to give you anything.
You're going to poison us.
Shots around!
I think I should have.
Good old days when we had sausage and mashed for tea. And a shot of zinc.
Have 1 each. I'm just going to give everybody a go. Don't drink it yet, yeah? Just don't smell it, don't do anything. Just hold it there for a moment. And
We'll toast everybody.
You go in and then just goes in.
just like, don't worry, everybody will get one. How many more with you?
7.
7. 8. 7.
No, 8.
8.
Yeah.
I got one.
Okay.
Yeah, same.
Should have enough. Alright, I think I'm more than have enough for everybody. Not really that much.
Yeah, I have one over there, so yeah.
Alright, go on before. Sorry guys, I just run out of time. Who wants to test it?
Yeah, do this, Steve. Just do it.
Hey? Sorry, I'll get more. So to test it when I get more. Right guys, what I want you to do now is to pretty much hold it there, smell it, drink it, just leave it in your mouth, do that and just swallow it. Yeah, just drink it. Like just wash your mouth, just drink it, wash your mouth a little bit inside and just drink it and then swallow it. How does it feel? Okay, who feel it like it's pretty much like a water?
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah.
Yeah?
No.
Who's got like a little bit slightly metallic? Slightly. Yeah? Alright. What it is, basically, if you would have enough zinc in your body, you'll be pretty much throwing up straight away, like straight back, because it's horrible. You shouldn't even like smelling it there. It will be pretty much if you have enough zinc in your body, okay? Yeah. If you have enough zinc, you will be pretty much everything will be going back on the floor. Okay. If you're slightly metallic, then you're still deficient. If you feel like water, you pretty much there's no zinc in your body at all, right? So that's a very simple test you can do just to assess your what? Did you drink it all? Oh, you got some. Hey? Did you drink it? Did you drink it? Yeah. So that's a very simple way you can test your zinc level and see actually if you sort of have enough or not. That's why guys those numbers are so high, because you can see pretty much none of you did throw back, right? So all those three things will make sure that your insulin, you're becoming more insulin sensitive, so eventually you become better insulin management. I think the one more thing is carnitine. Carnitine is a supplement, okay? Carnitine, obviously what it does, it helps transport the fat to be used as an energy, okay? And that's why it plays a big role in terms of managing also insulin load. The better it's going to work, everything's going to work in there, and then obviously the better you can manage that insulin level as well. The only thing is with carnitine is that if you don't have enough omega-3, that on its own is not going to work. Okay, so you need to make sure. That's why those combination, this and that, the omega-3 and carnitine together works absolutely brilliant in terms of reducing body fat, because they need to be paired together. So because you need to have enough carnitine to be able to you need to have enough omega-3 to be able to carnitine to work to the job properly in transporting the fat into the cells, and kind of the other way around as well. So the more carnitine you have, the better sort of the insulin will be going as well. So one of those things, yeah, you can do very simple in terms of any supplements. Get this and that together. Okay. Ideally, what he's saying is about 10 grams. You will have to get about 10 grams a day So ideally it's about 4 times 2.5 grams, because you shouldn't take more than 2.5 grams at the same times of carnitine. Okay. Normally carnitine comes as a sort of 500 grams, milligrams. So you have to take 5 capsules 4 times a day to get 10 grams of carnitine. And obviously omega-3, if you take in supplements, that's going to be quite a bit of tablets as well, unless you get the liquid form. Can be a little bit better because you normally eat teaspoons, depends where you're getting it from, can give you even up to 2.5 grams per teaspoon. Okay, so it depends where you get it.
And which one? Because is it 2 different types?
Carnitine, yes. You have normally acetyl L-carnitine and L-carnitine to titrate. So normally the L-carnitine, you can use a little bit of both really. I mean, acetyl L-carnitine will help you in terms of your energy production in the morning as well, so that kind of helps you to get a little bit boost your energy. But it does help with that. But you can, if you mix them up as well, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So let's say you're gonna have about 2.5 grams of acetyl, and the rest of it can go as the L-carnitine, and then yeah, you can do that. So let's say acetyl in the morning, and the rest of the day you can do the other.
What is carnitine? Is it an amino acid or something? And what foods do we find in it?
Yeah, it's kind of mainly you can find it in meat.
Red meat.
Yeah, red meat.
But it's an amino acid.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, the easiest way you can do, and the thing about carnitine as well, it helps you to recover from your workouts as well. So it helps with quite a lot with recovery. You get a bit more energy out of it as well. So even if you're very sore and that sort of stuff, that can help you to boost your energy and help you recover quicker as well from training. Okay, because it does help you with more sort of stuff as well. But it's very good in terms of managing your insulin a lot. Okay. Yeah. So I guess, guys, any questions about that?
What does D3 do?
D3?
Yeah.
D3's got a lot of benefits. So it basically makes you more insulin sensitive, but it also prevents a lot of cancers and diseases like Alzheimer's, all that sort of stuff. So I've got an article, which if you have that thing, I'll send you. I've got a list of 25 things why D3 is good. So why it's good to take D3. Okay.
Can you overdose on D3 then?
Sorry?
Can you overdose on D3 then, when you're actually taking this as a supplement?
You possibly could do, but you will have to take like really shitloads of it. I mean, really loads. Normally what they recommend, if you're going to be taking it every single day, it's about 5 to 10,000 units a day. Normally, if you, that's the thing is as well, if you're picking up the sort of supplements as well, make sure they get good quality, because a lot of supplements they do have a crap dosage as well. Let's say you buy fish oil from Holland, what I'm not going to call it, the brand, yeah, HB brand, whatever. The dosage of that, like if you're looking at it's normally you should look at the content of EPA and DHA, right? So normally if you buy one of those, I'm pretty sure there's going to be like 90 to 120 maybe, and that's going to be pretty much even lower than that, so maybe 50 to whatever, 90 or 100 if you're lucky, okay? So they're saying there's a high strength omega-3, 1,000 grams, but if you get this and that, that's 0 to 1/4, right? So there's not even a quarter of the gram, if you know what I mean. Yeah.
So in your fish oils, you want there to be high amounts of EPA?
Yeah, ideally, you want this number to be a lot much more higher. Okay.
And the DHA, high as well?
Both of them.
Okay.
Ideally. I mean, there's sort of EPA helps you with more inflammation, and DHA helps with something with other things as well. So, but normally, if you get both of them, they'll be alright. DPA is probably a bit more important if you deal with inflammation, for example. Okay. So,
are you best to buy online then?
Sorry?
Are you best to buy online then? Or
you can buy them online, you can buy them from us. just want to see, because I mean, some of guys are already using it here. I've got I just prepared a couple of things here. We got a bit more. I'm also already selling it as well. We have the brand is Polypin. It's a brand from the States. When I did my course, all about that sort of stuff, the body fat and all that stuff. I would say like this: not the cheapest one, the quality is top. Okay, so you pay for the quality, pay for the amount of it. Okay, the reason why is, I'll tell you that EPA and DHA here is not sort of SAD 90 or 50. It's going to be, I'll tell you, 860. Yeah, 860, and that's going to be 580. Okay, so serving on this is 2 soft gels. So for 2 soft gels, you're going to get about 1.4 grams. Often you get 3, actually 1.4 grams, yeah. They're saying it's going to be 1,000 grams, but it's not even, you know, as you can see, 0.140, yeah. There's nothing, absolutely nothing. So to take that, you'll have to take 10 times more this than that, right? So let's say the serving is also 2 capsules, you get that. Serving is 2 capsules, you get that. That means you have to take 20 capsules to get 1.4 grams from that brand. How many tablets, capsules do you have in those? 90? Yeah? Let's say you need to take 10 grams a day. How many is it? 1.5 packet a day? Yeah? Because that's pretty much what's going to happen. And they cost what?
£16.
How much? 16? Yeah, 16 quid. Or whatever. Even if they cost like 5 or 6. Yeah?
How much mercury are you taking as well? Right?
Exactly.
Well, exactly. The quality of fish oil as well is very important. This one is, I think, 31 pounds. So obviously you're paying more. So, but it will last you much longer. It's a very good quality fish oil. Okay, it's one of the best fish oils you can get. In terms of quality, 72%. Okay, so it's very high. So they say you're paying a little more quality, but if you look at it, 2 bottles of that, 1 bottle of this, and that's going to be, if you're going to get 10 grams, as what? 2 bottles will last you 2 days to get the same dosage. We also have, obviously we have things like magnesium, which also plays an important role. Which magnesium were you taking, because then most of the time you only have one type of magnesium, and it's actually quite a lot of different types of magnesium. And if you buy magnesium, you make sure that the last bit is ending with ATE, 8. So there will be some 8, magnesium something 8, right? This one we have right now is 4 different types of magnesium. We have there's magnesium taurate, glycinate, fumarate, orotate. So all of those magnesium will do a little bit different things, okay? So they're all very good quality. Also zinc as well, same thing, it should be 8 at the end of a name as well. Normally if you buy it, you just say zinc. They don't really tell you what is actually what kind of zinc it is, okay? So we have this as well, and we also have D3 available as well. That's 1 capsule is 5,000 units, okay? I've actually been to a pharmacy the other day just to check how much it costs there and how much dosage you get in 1 capsule. I found one, I think that was for 7 or 8 pounds per, I think it was about 90 capsules, and that was 400 units, that's 5,000, right? So you will have to take pretty much 10 capsules to get the same thing what you get from that, and that's about 13 quid, I think, or something like that, or 11, something like that. So you see how much money you can actually have to pay more to get the same dosages, right? So we're selling all those supplements as well. If you guys are interested, you can let us know. We can order it more if we're running out of stock, because we're getting them from States, so if we need to order more, we're going to be ordering it pretty much on a regular basis now, so they will be available. So we have like fish oils and D3s and magnesium, multivitamins as well, which we'll be probably talking a little bit more when we get to the other bits and pieces in terms of different seminar. So all that sort of stuff, probiotics and that sort of things is available here as well if you need it. Okay.
Guys, have any questions?
Any questions, guys?
So at the beginning of the talk, you even mentioned about rotating the real foods that we eat.
Yeah.
And I think this lends a little bit to the idea that exists. I don't know, you can confirm this, but that when we take supplements, so when we take these nutrients unnaturally, our bodies like build tolerance to it, just like it does to any other drug that we take. So most people say, or some people say that at least the very least thing we should be doing is to cycle on and off food stuff, not to just take them.
Yeah, well, I mean, in a way, if you, let's say you're going to be on taking supplements and your level of magnesium or zinc will come back to normal, then you can literally you can stop taking them because you don't need it for a while, right? So let's say you're going to be off for 2-3 months, and then you do a test again, and let's say your magnesium went down again quite a lot, then you might sort of start taking slowly again. So it doesn't mean you have to take it all the time. The same thing with fish oil. Maybe you can take it for a while. Your body will be loaded. When you get 3, will be okay. Then you can stop taking it, or maybe you'll take something different. Okay, so even time of sort of changing the brand. I mean, not the brand, but sort of the different brands. Let's say if you don't buy this one, you buy something else. Then normally the sort of you can get used to the different same brand. If you're taking so constantly same brand, safe or the same type of, because omega-3s, there's different types, a lot of different types. It's more EPA, there's more DHA, it's just EPA, it's just DHA, everything is at different size, so you can pretty much cycle that as well in a way, if you know what I mean. But yeah, by journey, if you're going to be doing the same stuff all the time, no matter what it is, same as exercise, you're going to do the same program constantly for a whole year, you're going to have a progress in 3 weeks, after that you're probably going to stop, right? The same with food, supplements, everything else. Eventually your progress will stop. Yeah, so that's why you can cycle it on and off. If you're at a good level, bring it back to a good level, you can back off for a while, and then start taking again if you have to again, right? Yeah. Go on.
So, you want us to take about, I think, 1.8 to 2 grams of protein per gram of body, or kilogram body weight, something like this.
Yeah.
Which, for me, for instance, would work out to about 186 grams of protein every day. That's very difficult to eat naturally. Yeah, that's minimum. That's very difficult to eat naturally, so we have to take protein supplements. When I do that, my piss will go green or go frothy. What does that mean?
It can be related to what type of protein you're using and how much shit they actually got inside as well. Because not every protein is the same. More stuff is certain proteins might have a lot of bad stuff. There might be a lot of soy there, for example, or a lot of other stuff. So they'll be actually making more toxic and stuff like that. So that can happen. Hey?
Does the amount of water intake makes difference?
Well, yeah. I mean, water in terms of hydration, dehydration, also plays a quite important role as well. So let's say if you we go pretty more yellow, much more yellow orange in all ways, then you're probably more dehydrated. So you actually need to drink more water. Because your water, if you dehydrate it, that causes the cortisol to go up as well, so the stress hormone is elevated as well. So that kind of thing you can sort of see.
So what about the idea that you just piss in protein because your body can't make use of it or anyway?
It can happen as well. The reason why, because let's say if you're, we're probably going to talk about it a little more as well, is how, if you have enough stomach acid in your body, right? If your stomach is actually producing enough acid to be able to digest your food and stuff you're taking. So let's say if you don't have any stomach acid, it's very low and it doesn't digest food properly, everything might be going to, over there, right? Room next door. So because you're not using any of those, right? Because nothing is being broken down properly, right? So that's why the right stuff won't go to the right place. Will go back to the toilet most of the time, right? So that's why it's very important. Marta did we did a stomach acid test, which came pretty much negative in a way, and after taking supplements for a couple of days, straight away reduced the sort of
literally
3-4 days.
And suddenly just went.
What happened?
You know what? For about 2 or 3 weeks, I was training, eating well, and sticking to diet,
We'll talk
whatever.
about it later.
But better. And then
eating well, did you say?
I was really bloated all the time, and really tired, and couldn't recover as quickly. And Matt gave me some tablets as well that I'm taking with every meal now. and after 3 days, it's only the stomach or everything's felt much, better, and you can actually physically see the difference. You're not bloated, no matter what you eat, you don't have that heavy. You can actually feel your body's actually working, and everything changes then. Your energy level changes. I sleep better, and
as soon as your body can actually absorb all the minerals and stuff you've been eating, that's obviously everything will start to go to the right place, and your body will start to function properly, right? If you don't have any stomach acid, you don't digest anything, so all the stuff you've been eating, either as a supplement or your omega-3 pills, anything, won't go anywhere, right? It'll be a waste product, right? So one of the things you'll probably need to look at is your stomach health, and pretty much if you produce any stomach acid at all. We do a test, which pretty much is should last you maximum 7 meals when you're actually taking capsules for stomach acid, and they'll test to see if you have enough or not, right? So you take one with first meal, and if you feel something, then you stop whether you're okay or you have enough, right? And then if you don't, then you take 2, and then take 3, blah blah blah, until we get to 7. If you don't feel anything at 7, then you pretty much failed, then you have enough. That means you don't pretty much absorb all the food you've been eating, all the supplements you've been taking, whatever you've been doing, doesn't go to the right place, right? And we can do it by a very simple test here as well. So as I said, maximum 2.5 days it will take you, and then we can see if it's good or not.
So what are the signs to let you know that you might?
It's like a little kind of heartburn, warming sensation in the stomach, really. That's.
But I mean, before you do this test, how do you know that you might be eligible for this medical?
Well, you know
that you should be taking.
Well, to be honest, everybody should do it before you start taking anything. Just because you don't really know, right? You might not. You don't know if you feel it alright or not, in a way. Because sometimes there's no sort of any sort of signs of that. Some people feel a little bloated all the time, so that there's a pretty much indication that something is wrong. But some people maybe don't affect that much, but still don't produce anything. And I can send you some information in PDF as well about that. So as I said, we have a available test. It's a very small kind of box of pills, more pills.
How much are those then?
Sorry?
How much are those?
The test bottle is normally, I think it's 7 pounds. So it's a bottle like this. There's 28 capsules here, so it goes to 7. So when you get to 7 capsules in one meal, because you take it halfway through the meal, if you take 7, if you don't feel anything after eating 7, then pretty much there's nothing there. Okay, so that means you will have to take a little bit stronger product, otherwise we will have to take like 8 or 9 capsules with every single meal. So we have a different product, we only take 2 with every meal. It's just a stronger dosage of that. And then you will have to take it pretty much with every single meal to make sure that you're digesting food properly. And that's, if it's in that situation, it can take a long time. Okay? It's just it's pretty much bad, but eventually your stomach will produce their own stomach acid. This is like a stomach acid pretty much capsule, right? So eventually your stomach, it kind of kickstarts the process of stomach producing its own stomach acid, so you can actually digest without that. So eventually you will be dropping the dosage. Eventually you won't have to take it.
For how long?
Depends on you. I've heard some people were taking it for 4 years. By the time they actually got into that, nothing. I've been doing it myself. I failed on 2, and it took me 8 months to actually feel something after 1 capsule. Because I've been taking just 1 of those, so pretty much the minimum dosage. I felt something at 2, I've been taking 1. 8 months it took me to get rid of and actually felt something at 1. So it can take a long time, but the straight away how you feel and how the body reacts and how the stomach will feel, because everything starts with the gut, guys. You gotta remember that if you don't digest food properly, you're not gonna get anything. So you might be bloated, you might be inflamed, you might not getting enough minerals, vitamins, everything you'll be taking. So pretty much gut is kind of like a main thing you want to look at first before you try taking any supplements, because you can waste your time and money.
So when you get it under at a right level, how long will it remain without taking anything?
It also depends, if you've been good in the diet, like say diet been good, everything's can be sorted, it might be staying, might be alright for life, right? You might have to retake it again, let's say. If you,
So you suggest a test
so let's say,
once a year or something?
yeah, let's say in a year time you can test again. Let's say you come up, maybe something went wrong, but you might be taking only one of it again. So just to come and bring it back normally, it shouldn't go bad again. If it's producing already enough, it should pretty much stay the same level. Guys, any questions? If not, we're going to wrap up this lecture. You might another 40 minutes. Yeah, if you have any questions, guys, you can email us. Do you have the list, guys, of names? If you didn't sign on your name, if you didn't put your name, guys, on it, just do it now, and then I will try to send you an email tonight. So you can get them. I'll send you all the articles and all the stuff we've been talking about now, a little bit more as well. So, yeah, I think most of you guys.